Hola, namaste. Welcome to the Tech Geek Podcast, folks. I'm your host, Sukriti, and today I'm here to talk and tell you about how we can secure India's critical industries as the cyber threats creep upon us with the advancing technology. Now, factors like rise of automating hacking, potential of artificial intelligence, uses of mobile phones and data, vulnerability of cloud computing, data breaches, IoT, etc., are just some of the elements that make cybersecurity an alarming concern. Now, leaders across verticals are constantly working on improving the process and eliminating these risk factors to safeguard the cybersecurity landscape, not even in India, but globally. Today's episode, I am in conversation with one of those leaders who are actually taking such initiatives and strategizing, these advancements. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Mahipal Nair, who's Managing Director at Trellix India. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mahipal.
Hi, Sukriti, and namaste to everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. So I would, want to start with, you drawing a picture for us, Maipal, about the cybersecurity landscape in India. How does it look like, and what are the things that are like happening in real time, and what are the things that market is actually exploring at this point in time?
Yes, Sukriti. So I would just take a step and maybe go broader and talk about how it is globally and then come to India. So the very reason Trellix, the company that I lead in India, came into existence about a year and a half ago, is because of the growing demand in the cybersecurity space. In fact, company is just about a year old as a brand. Came up in January 2022. Maybe the process started few months ago in 2021, and the need was felt across, and that's how the group of private equity came together and initiated the conversation to get this company going, which is essentially an is carved out of erstwhile McAfee and FireEye. So the reason that there was an investor behind our company is because of the growing demand, and the growing demand has probably become much more acute over the last few years, particularly the onset of COVID, when almost all of us had to move and work from home. Many of the corporate sector is barring the essential services, and that's where some of the vulnerabilities of this space were exposed. And I would say that I'm proud that Trellix came just at the right time. And the very purpose of this company is to redefine the living security, make it more constant, maybe make it use the technologies like AI and ML and make it more robust. Because what we have seen the last couple of years is that threats have increased from all over. We see this happening even in other spaces. Even when you look at how the wars are taking place, and I would like to refer to the one that's currently still going on in Eastern Europe. Uh, we saw the advent of it first through the cybersecurity attacks that started in those countries. There are many non-state actors that are playing in actively in this field, and when it comes to the cybersecurity, the boundaries of different countries, nation states get blurred, and that's where the threats become even more wider and vulnerabilities get exposed. So and when it comes to India, like many other spaces, that we don't tend to think too much about this space. We haven't in the past. If you go few decades ago, even people did not think too much about physical security of different organizations. That probably was few decades ago. Business continuity was not something that people thought too much about before some natural calamities took place. And in fact, I would go back 2 decades ago to 2001 when the attacks happened in New York. That's when first time companies started thinking about business continuity. Likewise, I would say that I think pandemic was the catalyst of this change, and now companies are realizing the importance of cybersecurity. But in India, uh, is also catching up. The incidence of attacks have increased significantly in India. I would say one way to look at it, the term itself has become more common than ever before. You can see this in the movies, OTT, the more famous one, which is about this small little place in India where uh, uh, there are people. Even earlier today, I was reading the newspaper. There has been some cybersecurity kind of attack from that small little place. Now, why this space becomes more difficult is also because it's not that these non-state actors need any qualification. I think people with some amount of interest can get into it. Even today, most of the attacks are not because of technology, but because of lack of awareness. So that's how I would sum up how the industry is, and where does Trellix come into picture.
All right. So that was about the current trends of the market when it comes to the cybersecurity landscape. Mahipal. I would want you to give us a little sneak peek of the impact of the cyber attacks targeting the critical infrastructure of organizations.
Yeah, so I think one that I think kind of woke up a lot of people in India, especially in the corporate sector. I would like to refer to this incident of AIMS that happened last year in November. Now, AIMS, as you know, is the premier healthcare institution in India, and yet it was held for ransom, literally, because through the ransomware. If you have read more about it, now AIMS was trying to go paperless from beginning of this year, and they were all set for that plan before this attack kind of stalled everything. The plan was to go completely digital. Again, I would refer back to pandemic. That's the time the need for digital also increased. But here was this one incident that completely crippled AIMS and exposed the entire healthcare industry in India, because while the security experts were trying to solve it, they discovered that hackers have managed to get into some other healthcare institutions as far as down south or east, and that was a big discovery. And now, when it comes to financial institution, that has been an area where vulnerabilities have been much bigger and wider. Every other day, we get to know about how security systems have been compromised. And again, I will go back to the point that I made. Most of the times, these are just lack of awareness, which needs not technology, but there are times when a lack of investment and lack of talent in this space also leads to companies getting exposed.
Okay. And also, I think this sets up a very important aspect that sets up a requirement, I should say, the need for a holistic and connected security ecosystem that is required to detect and mitigate the cyber threats. So, how do you think this is being
Yes.
done?
So, if you look at how companies secure themselves up, typically they do through different areas. So, for example, it could be from email, uh, email security, endpoint, data loss prevention, network detection. So, these are different, and there are in this space. Fortunately, unfortunately, there are many players. So, which means organizations end up having multiple suppliers or vendors. Now, and almost every company realizes the need for consolidation, and more so, I would say Trellix, because and that's where there is a need for having a connected security ecosystem, what we refer to as XDR, which is the extended detection and response. This is a holistic ecosystem that consolidates, and this is where the deep research also comes in. For example, Trellix has a research wing which invests its time to know what is happening across the ecosystem, builds the knowledge into our products, and also prepares our engineers to find the best response for such threats. So XDR is the future, and the reason the XDRs will be able to help the organization the process, because there will be one single platform that will also simplify the life of Information Security Officer, or CISO as we call it. More importantly, then it will improve security operations and efficiency, as the events can occur from different vectors. Also, it will optimize the deployment because then it becomes simpler. Detection response time will be shorter, and it will also reduce the risk by using the research available to us, and using security analytics, and use automation tools to prioritize in case of incidents. So that's how I would put it, what the future looks like.
Okay, so a lot of technological advancements are happening every day. There's something new that we hear of, which is sort of on the the initiation of revolutionizing the technology and the kind of fundamentals that the organizations are normally like working through. Now, let's just talk about the impact of these new tools like ChatGPT and how the cyber criminals actually are using them to spread the malware. Mahipal.
Yeah. So earlier, like I said, see, first of all, like I mentioned earlier, this is an area where it's not that this, and again, I will kind of correlate it with the overall security system, how it works. So on one side, there are countries who have very well-equipped security, and I'm looking at, for example, India has a strong army, there is a stronger air force and a navy, and that protects our borders. But at the same time, when it comes to a non-stake actor, that attack can come, and whether they are as trained or not doesn't matter, because they adopt to techniques which are in one way can be called as guerrilla warfare, or there's more surprise, there's more um, um, unplanned way of approaching, and very unconventional method. Now, if I were to kind of correlate with the cybersecurity space, pretty much the same aspects apply. So on one side, I would have very trained engineers, very well exposed to tools. The other side is out there, and they have a very different motive and passion about it, maybe more negative and criminal in nature, but then that's what it is. So they have this innate ability to attack, because that's the only thing they are thinking. I have to guard my company or all my customers in different ways, but they have to just find one loophole. Now, when you see that, and then you see the advancement of things like ChatGPT, you suddenly realize that someone can make a very harmful code just by using ChatGPT. Now, it's not that almost everyone or anyone can think of a code which has malware, or can build other codes which will be detrimental for any service or any company. But Chat GPT or this kind of tools can help. Now, what has happened from the advent of Chat GPT, there are security protocols now inbuilt in the most latest version. So it can't be used as openly as it could be potentially, as it could have been used in the past. But plus, there are governments and countries, they are coming up with regulations, so they protect from these. But the threat remains. Having said that, the threat does remain, and it was there. It becomes the technological advancements happening for the betterment of the society, but at the same time, there are enough tools available on the dark side as well. But I would say that evolving Chat GPT space is going to work better for the society and the world, and for the cybersecurity space, because some loopholes have been detected. A lot of care has been taken, and as we see more updates and upgrades, we will see that some of it would be covered.
Clearly, my bal. I mean, with this, actually, I think couldn't have asked for a better wrapping up of our conversation. And I completely agree. With the kind of infrastructure security, a significant part of almost every organization today is, would be a good choice to start with their learning curve in cybersecurity, and to become experts for tomorrow, and to move in the right direction when it comes to the decision making. And the skilled and experienced cybersecurity among the the professionals that we're talking about, I think, are in demand and should be in demand going forward also. So I had a wonderful time talking to you, Mahipal.
Thank you so much, Sukriti, and I hope it was useful, and we look forward to have more interaction on this topic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much once again. Audience, I hope you've got a good preview of the current landscape that the cybersecurity holds, not only in India but globally. I'll be back with some more tech podcasts very soon. Till then, stay tuned to TechGeek for all the tech updates and more such tech podcasts. Please stay safe and take care. Thank you.
Thank you.